The Second Amendment is on the ballot in November. The only way to save our Second Amendment is to vote for a person that you all know named Donald Trump, okay?
Donald Trump of the National Rifle Association making the case that if Hillary Clinton is elected president, she will not only push for new gun laws, but nominate Supreme Court justices who will uphold those laws. It's time now for our Sunday group. Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume is here, USA Today columnist Kirsten Powers, head of Heritage Action for America Michael Needham, and Fox News political analyst and author of We the People, Juan Williams. I was there at the NRA meeting, Brit, and there was a crowd. It was supposed to be 7,000. That's how many tickets they sold, but they let another 1,000 people at least in. Very enthusiastic crowd for Trump there. So you got a couple of things. You got the NRA very enthusiastic about him, and the NRA endorsing 5 months before they've endorsed anybody else. What's going on?
I think it's one of a number of signs that Donald Trump is well on his way to pulling nearly all of the Republican Party behind him. There will be holdouts, and there will be conservatives who were conservatives first and Republicans second, who will not be reconciled to him. But the Supreme Court list that he put out, the meeting with Paul Ryan, all these things are pointing in the same direction, that Republicans and most conservatives are increasingly ready, particularly because they so fear the alternative, to back him, and I think that's where we're going.
At the same time, though, you've got a lead piece in the New York Times, Kirsten, that says all these big donors from the Republican Party say they're not going to raise money for Trump, and I kind of liken it to back in 2000 when Bill Clinton bought a $1.8 million house, and everybody's saying, how is he going to afford that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the NRA has pretty much said the reason they did that, I think, is to your point. They're trying to take the lead on bringing the party together, so they're doing it much earlier than they've done it in the past.
But what about these donors who are saying they're sitting on the sidelines? Does that matter?
Well, I mean, there are going to be some people who just aren't going to come around.
But will it matter?
Who are, no, I mean, it seems like Trump has been able to do pretty well without having the establishment behind him. If anything, it's probably helped him. So, we're going to have to see how much he actually ends up wanting to spend in the general election. I don't think he can get through a general election the way he did with the primary, not spending as much money. But there are going to be some people, a lot of these people are partisans and ideologues, and they're going to put that before Trump. I think ultimately most people will tend to come around once it's clarified. It's between Hillary, it's between Trump. That's why the NRA, I mean, the NRA, look, he's very pro-gun also. I mean, we have to remember that. Well, but the things that he has said are the kinds of things that I think the NRA dreams of people saying, like the San Bernardino shooting, saying if they'd had guns, this wouldn't have happened. The other side hadn't had guns.
He was for longer waiting periods after the president made the speech about Newtown. He said, the president says everything I'm thinking, yeah.
And so I think that's a statement of where the Democrat Party is right now. The Democrat Party is absolutely hopeless when it comes to defending Second Amendment rights. Hillary Clinton is actually running to the left of Bernie Sanders on this issue. And so I think everything Brit said is true, but I think this is also just on the issue of gun control, Hillary versus Donald Trump. The NRA is saying we'll take our chances. And the challenge for Donald Trump is what are some of those other issues on the Supreme Court with his vice presidential nominee where he can give conservatives confidence.
Well, what about the Supreme Court? He comes out with 11 people that he says he put on the Supreme Court. I mean, don't worry, conservatives. I'm with you here. I mean, it really seems like he's got to go to great lengths to keep people with him.
It was, and I think that was a great gesture. In some ways, it's a microcosm of the Trump campaign. He puts out this list. It is a phenomenal list. Conservatives say, fantastic. Donald Trump is saying, where's Hillary's list? Let's talk about that. And then later that night, he says, but maybe I'll add to the list. And so kind of this great moment with Donald Trump and conservatives, for some reason, gets a question mark at the end. And I think what that causes is some people say, this was really shrewd. This is how you make deals. This is how you negotiate. And other people say, well, hold on, that's a little erratic. What's going on there? Does he really mean it? Is this a fraud? And so I think the challenge for Trump is to find those issues, give conservatives confidence, and then convince those people in the second who look at that question mark and see erratic behavior and say, we're going to make them comfortable, we're going to make them come over and join the coalition.
So, Juan, he's got these groups that are coalescing behind him, the NRA, conservatives now getting behind him, but you take a look at this Fox News Latino poll about Hispanics. Even though Republican Hispanic leaders say they're willing to talk to Trump, may come around, look at this. Hillary Clinton, 62%, Donald Trump, 23%. It's a 39-point lead for her, and that's 4 points less than what Mitt Romney got in 2012. Is he dead in the water because of that number?
It hurts. It hurts badly, and we saw this in terms of what the Republican National Committee said after 12. Remember the number you showed for Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney's people said if we had done better with Latinos, we might have had a better chance. When you look at the reality now, you have a growing Latino population, more influence in key states. I mean, you could go at Colorado, Nevada.
Well, does that kill him in Florida?
I think it hurts him badly in Florida, but John, the thing is it also hurts him in states where you might not initially register the presence of Latinos. Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania. And these are states that Trump would like to flip and thinks that he can by getting more blue-collar white voters concerned with the trade issue. But right now, with these numbers, he has a major problem, and it's not going away. One final point on the coalescing of Republicans behind Trump. You'll notice Mitt Romney is not among them. And you'll notice that Mitt Romney is still saying, where are your taxes, Mr. Trump? And then you look at people like Cruz, Kasich, Rubio. I don't see them standing up yet. And of course, Paul Ryan still is yet to come.
Right. Is it possible, Brit, if we look at the results in West Virginia? Now, West Virginia may not translate across the country, but it could translate in states like Pennsylvania and Ohio, and Kentucky. Well, Kentucky doesn't have to worry about it, but Pennsylvania, Ohio, maybe Michigan even, where a number of Bernie Sanders supporters said, we're going to vote for Donald Trump. Could he make up for the deficit in Hispanic voters by pulling Democrats?
That's the question. And it's, in a way, it's a kind of a premise of the Trump campaign, that you can make up the shortfall you're going to have with minority and ethnic voters, and even perhaps to some extent with women, with blue-collar white voters, mostly men. I mean, I think as a matter of mathematics, it's tough, but not impossible. The question then becomes, well, will he be able to improve his number of 62 to 23 unfavorable among Hispanics? I thought the number would be worse, frankly. You know, he's not that far behind Romney. Now, they both did badly, but my guess is that Trump will try to find a way to reach out to Hispanics, and maybe he can, you know, hold the Clinton margins, or, you know, whoever ends up with its margins down there, and that might be enough. I mean,
what do you think, Kirsten?
Now possible.
Can he pull Democrats and maybe win back Hispanics?
It's going to be hard for him to pull Democrats. Right now, you have a lot of the Democrats. It's interesting. These actually were Hillary Clinton voters in 2008 when she was running against Barack Obama, but now she's tacked to the left so much, I think maybe she's losing some of the voters because of Sanders. But what does she do in the general election? Is she able to start pulling these people back? And then if you have to remember also, there's different types of voters, Democratic voters. So the younger voters despise Trump. I mean, he has between 70 and 80% disapproval among them. But they don't like her.
57%
But
in the New Washington Post poll
there's
for
a
both.
feeling that their dislike of Trump is so much greater, mostly, frankly, because of the political correctness issue. This is a generation that just does not like political incorrectness, and that's one of his hallmarks. So they either could stay home or they could potentially vote for Hillary just out of dislike for Trump.
Well, let's talk about the Democrats and what's going on the other side, because that's a whole different kettle of fish. We'll take a break here with the panel.